Hi, welcome back to Sugar. And today I'm making desserts with honey. I'm about to start into my Italian Panforte with creme fraiche, which is a great treat, especially if you're having a dinner party. So, to get right to it, I've got 6 ounces of dark chocolate chopped up. This semi-sweet or bittersweet chocolate will work fine. Now, in Italian, Panforte means strong bread, and it's a fruitcake. It's sort of the Italian equivalent of fruitcake. It's full of nuts and dried fruit and candied peel, just the sort of things you'd expect in our traditional fruitcakes. And it's got the spices just reminiscent of holiday time. And this is a Tuscan treat. It originates in that very specific region of Italy. There we go. And what I want to do now, because this is a sugary, dense, fruitcakey thing, I'm actually making sort of a candy base. I'm starting with some sugar. I've got half a cup. Plus this, measuring easier here, plus 2 tablespoons. And I've got the same amount of honey. Now for this recipe, I use clover honey. There's so many flavors going on that it would just overwhelm a fancier, perhaps more expensive honey. So I use just plain old clover honey, which I think is the kind of honey my Uncle Steve used to have in Pennsylvania. He had, it was in the apiary, I think it's called. He used to import bees from around the world. And I would go. He also had a baby fox, which I would go see when I was a little kid. I think I was more interested in the fox than the bees. But there we go. And I'm going to turn this. I've got 1.5 tablespoons of butter here too. And get these cooking over medium-high heat. And these are all going to melt together and get bubbly good. Now, because I'm making a candy, what I want to do is get a very specific temperature here. And this is by far the best way to do it. This is a temperature probe thermometer. It's got a metal end with a metal wire. And I just completely immerse it in whatever it is I'm cooking. I use this when I'm making candy, nougat, buttercreams, anything like that. And quite simply, I set the temperature, whoo, that's hot, set the temperature here, and it beeps when I hit the right temperature. For softball, which is what I need today, it's 245, and so it's going to go off when I hit that temperature. This is a great tool to use if you're roasting beef or a turkey, holiday turkey. You just stick the unit on the outside of the oven, and the probe goes into the center of your roast. Now I'm going to get the other ingredients, the big flavors going on with this Panforte, including some toasted hazelnuts. These just came out of the oven about 10 minutes ago. You can always tell when hazelnuts are nicely toasted because the skins start cracking on them. Now, one of the pain in the neck jobs, I love cooking with hazelnuts, but you do have to peel them because those skins can be bitter. And so, with this little trick, I just came upon this by accident. I used to do it in a tea towel and hammer them, and then you have to pick out those nuts, one by one by one, and it takes forever. So in a bake shop, when you're doing large quantity, you have to come up with something easier. So taking a colander, I just rub the hazelnuts, ooh, they're nice and warm, with my hand and push those skins through the colander. And then I have less of a mess to contend with and not so much work. And perfect hazelnuts. Now, nuts are such a big part of Italian cooking, especially hazelnuts. And I've got the combination of hazelnuts and almonds here. And lift this up, and there are all the skins. With no mess, away we go. I'm just going to give these a rough chop. I could, if I want, just leave them whole too and put them right into the Panforte. Now, honey is a natural preservative, and so the honey in this dessert helps make it just keep indefinitely. The hard part is keeping your hands away to keep it indefinitely. I always find it's a great snack or nibble. There, a little rough chop. And I've got the same amount, 3/4 of a cup of lightly toasted almond pieces, just roughly chopped too. And, ooh, look at this sugar start to bubble, and that honey. You're gonna smell, oh, it smells so delicious. I've got 6 tablespoons of candied lemon peel. Now, I buy the store-bought for a recipe like this, because the work that goes into making candied peel just disappears when it gets cooked into all these ingredients. 3/4 of a cup of orange peel. You can easily switch the proportions. If you like candied lemon better, put in more candied lemon. That's just fine. Some Panfortes don't even have chocolate. I like the chocolate. My parents, this is a teaspoon of cinnamon. This is what really builds the flavor. I'll tell my story in a second. Quarter teaspoon of clove, allspice, and nutmeg. So this is where the real holiday flavors get built in. Allspice and a little grated nutmeg. My parents were recently in Tuscany, and they were in that exact region where it comes from. They brought back some Panforte. A little grate. And I was going to show it to you, but they had company over this weekend, and after dessert, they cut it up into little pieces, and I'm afraid this is all that's left of it. But there is authentic Tuscan Panforte, and they did assure me that, yes, it was delicious. I'm adding, now back to this Panforte, a cup of dried raisins, and 6 tablespoons of flour. And to this, I'll add my chocolate and stir it all up. And my honey, oh, it's bubbling up just beautifully. 3, 4, and 5, and 6. And a little bit of the chocolate, and we are in business. This smells so good. Little pieces are large. It's a treat anytime. It's the honey that makes it, quite honestly. Oh, and the chocolate on my hand. Ooh, are we almost there in the temperature? I think we are. So I'm going to stir this up, and then when I come back, I'm going to assemble this Panforte and build the creme fraiche.